Liverpool, they're in 5th. They're on 63 points. Chelsea 4th with 64 points and Leicester 3rd with 66. 2 games left to play for all of those teams. Chelsea actually play Leicester tonight. It's a massive game, really, isn't it? Tomorrow we have exclusive commentary of Burnley v Liverpool as well. Basically, everyone trying to win their final games. Liverpool could make the top 4 if they win both of those and other things happen. Leicester basically need 4 points from their remaining 2 games to confirm a top 4 finish. And Chelsea really going to do everything they can to beat Leicester tonight, because then they're going to bunny hop them. So, Darren, who do you think is going to miss out?
I think the top 4 will stay. I've said it from the start. I think that Leicester and Chelsea will stay in there. Yes, they play each other, but I just think Leicester, momentum, obviously what they did in the cup final, I think them and Chelsea will be the 2. I think Liverpool have been brilliant. What a header from Alisson, by the way. Thought I'd add that bit in there. But yeah, I think the top 4 will remain as it is.
The thing is, though, do you think Chelsea will beat Leicester tonight?
I can see that being a draw.
Okay, so if they do, they're on 65 points. And then Liverpool, do you think Liverpool beat Burnley?
Do you know what? I would say yes, and I think Liverpool will win. But I thought Burnley surprised me, because I watched them at the weekend and they got absolutely dismantled by Leeds. And that you just don't expect that from a Burnley team. But then Burnley are one of them teams that will turn up against Liverpool and win. But I think Liverpool win that.
So Liverpool win that one. What about Crystal Palace? Do they win that one?
Draw. Yeah.
Okay. So at the moment, if Chelsea draw their game with Leicester tonight, that's 65 points. Then they've also got Villa. That's their final game. Do you think they win that one?
Who? Leicester?
Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will win that.
Fine. So it's really difficult, really, Ali, isn't it? Because I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, we'll obviously learn a lot more after this game is tonight. You're a better person than me if you can properly predict this. But do you think it's going to stay the same? Do you agree with Darren?
I used to. I actually think Liverpool will win their 2 remaining games. I think Chelsea will beat Leicester tonight. And I think it'll be between Chelsea and Leicester for the last place final day of the season.
Do you know what, Ali, do you think that with Leicester, if they fell out again of the top 4, do you think, obviously we know they won the FA Cup and it was superb, do you think the fans would be annoyed, or do you think they'd be like, well, we've won the FA Cup, so it's...
I think they'd be, Darren, I think the majority of them would be unbelievably disappointed, but I just think it's difficult for them to be annoyed, because the progress in the club, the FA Cup, the whole story just continues to grow, and it's you could understand the frustration and disappointment, absolutely, but I think the majority of them would be pretty realistic about the whole thing.
Do you think so? Thomas Tuchel, after everything being on for him, could have everything off potentially, couldn't he? If he misses out on top 4, already lost the FA Cup, could lose the Champions League final as well. Do you think that there is? Do you think they've seen enough to know that he's done a great job at Chelsea, or do you think he'd be under a bit of pressure?
Oh, he'd be under pressure, 100%.
Madness.
This is Chelsea.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Any other club, I think you'd go no. But if he was to start off next season, say they lose it, they've lost the FA Cup final, they don't finish in the top 4, and they lost the Champions League final, and then next season he started off a little bit sluggish, mate, he's under massive pressure. Massive pressure.
Yeah.
Isn't it incredible how quickly something can just turn?
Absolutely. Flipped like that. I mean, it has. Said it yesterday, Bent, it's incredible. Everybody correctly were singing Thomas Tuchel's praises about this Chelsea side. They tightened things up at the back and they were looking good. You know, Mason Mount's been fantastic. Kanté out of this world. And it's amazing. Defeating the FA Cup final. And let's be honest about it, there is a realistic proposition of Chelsea winning nothing and not getting in the top 4. That is a possibility, much as it hurts me to say it.
If Liverpool make the top 4, how much of an achievement will that be when you consider the injuries that they've had this season?
Oh, wow. Unbelievable. A massive achievement. The injuries, at times people have completely wrote them off. Do you know what I mean? Said that's them finished. They won't even finish in the Europa League spots. People were saying that people were actually making memes that they wanted Liverpool to finish in the Europa, or that they weren't going to finish in there. And if he does somehow manage to do that, going into next season with the players that he'll have back, and obviously I think they're going to have to add 1 or 2 more additions. Massive achievement for Jurgen Klopp.
I think I read a quote actually, Ali, where Jurgen Klopp said it will be the biggest achievement that I've had at Liverpool if we managed to make top 4.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ali.
Yeah, but I think it'd be an achievement, definitely. Because they looked all but dead and buried about 3 or 4 weeks ago, didn't they? Let's be honest about it. Home defeats all over the place, Fulham, Burnley, and all that. The form just wasn't good. So for them to give themselves, isn't it? And whatever we talk, it's in their own hands. You know what I mean? It is now in their own hands, guys. So if they win their 2 games, they finish in the top 4. But it's an interesting one, Benny, because I'm thinking to myself, you're right. Burnley were all over the place here against Leeds, and you never see them like that. You never see them like that. So I think there might be a wee element of a backlash from Burnley, because clearly Sean Dyche would have been extremely disappointed with that home performance against Leeds, and it's never ever an easy place to go to, although Leeds did make it look that way at the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm reading this quote, and he says he was asked the question about how big it would be to make Champions League football next season, and he says, this is to Sky Sports, massive, absolutely massive, one of the biggest achievements ever. I know how that sounds, but it's the truth. Everybody here sees it like that. Everybody. If you want to write a book about a season and then you want to be depressed afterwards, then you probably take this season, you'd read it and think, wow, really? That happened, and then that happened? Most of the things they don't ever get in the public. It's just really what we had a lot of things to deal with, but here we are. So that's interesting, isn't it? That a lot of things going on behind closed doors at Liverpool as well.
Of course, and you know, when thinking about it, there, it is a massive achievement if they were to finish in the top 4, because you start talking about they lost arguably the best centre back in the world.
Yeah. They lost all the centre backs. Yeah,
lost all of it. They lost probably the most informed, the signing of the season at that time, crucial time. Diego Jota was on fire when he got injured. Then they took the dynamics out of midfield. Fabinho and Henderson had to move them back there, and then on a personal level, you had Jurgen Klopp when was it his mother? Lost his mother. Alisson, the goalkeeper, his father. Do you know what I mean? They've had all these issues to deal with, and yet they still sit on the cusp. They've somehow managed to get together and give themselves an opportunity to finish in the top 4. I mean, that in itself is a story, and it's a special story.
Yeah, it really is. We did need an exciting end to the season in some way because of the title being wrapped up, and we know who's being relegated already. This race for top 4 becomes especially exciting. Chelsea are taking on Leicester tonight. We'll know a lot about the run-in, well, the last game, I suppose, after we find out that result and how it will look, and ask you both for your predictions again.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.